are the things I usually walk my clients through every time there's some level of an infidelity that's going on. And it is what I tell the wounded person, the person who has been cheated on, what to look for within their spouse to see if it's going to be healthy and wise for them to open up their heart again towards them. Or is this cheating actually part of an escalating behavior or pattern?
Right. Welcome to the Secure Marriage Podcast, where we believe it's possible to fight less, feel understood, and enjoy a deeper connection with your spouse. We're your hosts, Paul and Shannon Elmore, and on today's episode, once a cheater, always a cheater? Question mark?
Good one. There it is. Second try. All right, so here's the question. I have been going through Facebook marriage groups because wonderful questions, also lots and lots and lots of hurt people. And one of the questions that came up was, do you believe once a cheater, always a cheater? What do you think? That's a hard one, isn't it?
That's a really hard one.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Because when that trust is broken, it's really hard to believe that someone's going to...
And not just trust broken, like you lied about getting the oil changed in the car or, what you spent a few dollars on. When you've broken trust in something as intimate as sexual
relationship,
vulnerability.
Yeah.
So once a cheater, always a cheater. What do you think?
Well, man, there's the part of me that likes to believe the best in people and that people can change.
Yep.
And then there's a part of me that says, once a cheater, always a cheater.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that there are some things that make it easier to believe that once a cheater, not always a cheater.
That they've changed.
What
are those things? That's
what are those things?
Thank you for bringing that up. How would you know that someone has learned from their mistake? That, again, everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes.
Sure.
Some mistakes are worse than other mistakes.
Right.
We're not going to be naive and say all mistakes are the same.
Right.
So when something as big or personal or vulnerable as infidelity, sexual infidelity with someone else, what would you need to see? And again, let's assume it's the husband here. I'm not even going to say if it was a male or a female who asked the question.
I think beyond just seeing things, I think, first of all, that if it were you, I would want to be able to ask you any question anytime about what you're doing, how's it going, how are things, and you not be defensive about it.
Being receptive to being questioned.
Yes, exactly.
For how long would you want to do that? For the next 10 years?
No. I don't know how long. It would depend probably upon how changes happen within you over a period of time. And healing, there's no hard and fast rule to when healing happens and trust is rebuilt. But there are definitely things that can be done to build trust faster.
Right. And one of those things, again, what you would look for in me is openness, non-defensiveness. I am willing to be transparent.
Exactly.
With my behaviors or my thoughts or my actions.
Exactly.
Transparency would help build trust.
Right.
What else?
And that would also include, besides me asking questions, me asking, can I have access to your phone?
Yep.
Will you give me the code for your phone so I can check it and see what's going on?
Yeah.
I think also your willingness to just talk and engage.
Oh, and not be shut down or withdrawn.
Right.
Yep.
Showing an investment into the marriage, an investment into wanting to make things work and make things right.
To actually rebuild intimacy, which requires communication, vulnerability, engagement. I can't just be shut off in my own world and rebuild intimacy with you or trust.
Right.
Yeah.
I think another one, and this is kind of the obvious one, is that there would be a definite sorrow about what had happened. Yeah. I hesitate to add that because a lot of times when people get caught, they seem sorrowful. Yeah. But it's really about just that they've been caught.
Right.
And so putting that in there is a little bit kind of a hard to judge because so many times when people are caught in their infidelity, they're like, I'm sorry, it'll never happen again, blah, blah, blah. That's not true sorrow.
You want to see contriteness. You want to see that I hurt because I hurt you.
Right.
Now, I'm not hurting because I got busted.
Right.
I'm hurting because I understand the impact that it's had on you, the heartbreak that I've caused in you, and because you are hurting, I now hurt.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's super important. What if I never really even admitted that I had an affair? I never apologized. I never took responsibility.
Yeah, that I guess that was that's yes, that is definitely. I was thinking kind of wrap that into that sorrow about what
Right.
happened. But yes, if you never admitted that what you did was wrong or that you even did it or any of that,
Yep.
that would make it really difficult to believe that you were going to change.
Yeah, if there was no responsibility on my
Right.
part. Again, if someone is cheating, I've seen it so many times in my office that the excuses now come out. I was lonely. You
Right.
weren't doing something to me. They actually spin it and blame you.
Exactly.
You weren't meeting my needs. So what else am I supposed to do? And they don't ever take responsibility for their bad decision.
Correct.
in having an affair with somebody.
Right,
And that
exactly.
responsibility is huge, huge.
Right. I think I would also really want you to be curious and want to know how what you did affected me.
Oh, good one.
You know, there's a lot of blame that can happen and a lot of taking responsibility, but if you don't approach me and say, I know I screwed up, how is this affecting you? Really, how, besides hating me and being mad at me and all of those things, what did it make you feel?
Sure.
And that's probably really hard to get to.
Sure.
Because you already messed up and you don't want to hear again how you've really messed up. And that's on a deeper level, but that builds that intimacy, and it actually shows, that's a way that will really show that you actually care.
Yeah. I would add one more thing in there.
Okay.
If I was the one who cheated, I would want to demonstrate that I'm trying to understand myself, why I
Right.
did that, what led me to that place, which now means I need to go do my own work. I need to
Exactly.
get counseling. I need to have some level of accountability and demonstrate that I'm growing in understanding of myself,
Right.
so that I don't just repeat the pattern because I haven't dealt with something, 5 years now, 10 years from
Right.
now, that I've actually come to understand myself. And if I do that, and all the other things that you have
Right.
mentioned, take responsibility, show contriteness, be open and transparent. If I do all of those things, then I believe that marriages can survive infidelity.
Right.
That
Absolutely.
a person who has committed adultery can actually not let that define them,
Right.
but can actually use it to redeem something within themselves and become a healthier human being.
Right.
So I actually don't believe it's once a cheater, always a cheater. I think there needs to be demonstrable steps that they are taking, so that they can redeem themselves.
Right. And I think when you put all those
Yeah.
together, that you can actually see measurable movement forward, which makes
Yes.
trust rebuild, intimacy rebuild, and all of those things.
Yeah. Again, as a counselor, I believe that people actually can heal. They can actually change.
Right.
They can get better. They can redeem their lives, or else I wouldn't do the job that I do. But this is a hard one. A lot of people aren't willing to do all of those steps that we just kind of talked through.
Right.
Because it's too vulnerable, it's too personal, and they actually would rather just go back to comforting themselves in whatever unhealthy behavior there is.
Right. And the thing that happens too is it takes a lot of work on the person who had the offense or whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it. Takes a lot of work on their part to build that retrust
Yeah.
with their spouse or their partner. And it would be very easy to give up.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think the person who committed
The affair.
the affair gives up just right as that turning point happens for the other spouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
because it just sometimes it takes a long time for all of those things to be rebuilt in a spouse, and for the feelings to come back, and the love and the care and the trust and all of that. And it's like, okay, I've been doing this and I've been doing this and when I've been doing this, and isn't that enough?
Yeah.
And it's usually they just give up right as things are about to shift.
Yeah, you're very, very right. It's very unfortunate when that happens, because they've done all the hard work and then they bail out at the end. It's painful to watch. It's painful to watch. You nailed all of the major things that I would have brought up if you had an affair, and what I would need to see in the relationship. These are the things I usually walk my clients through every time there's some level of an infidelity that's going on. And it is what I tell the wounded person, the person who has been cheated on, what to look for within their spouse.
Right.
To see if it's going to be healthy and wise for them to open up their heart again towards them. Or is this cheating actually part of an escalating behavior or pattern?
Right.
Because if it is, then the answer is different. All sorts of things change.
Sure.
But I don't believe once a cheater, always a cheater, because I think people can be redeemed.
Right.
But there are certain things to look for so that they demonstrate they're getting healthy.
Yep.
You and I are on the same page. You is smart.
Sweet.
You is a very smart woman.
I've learned from the best.
Anyway, if this happens to be your situation, you have found yourself in some level of trust being broken in your relationship, and you don't know where to turn, you don't know where to start, we would suggest securemarriage.com is a fantastic place to just start getting some resources on what healthy marriages, healthy relationships actually look like, so that you can find that footing, that grounding underneath you when your world's completely upside down. If you have found out your spouse has been unfaithful to you in some way, that is a highly unstable time. It's so confusing. And so we want you to get some solid ground underneath your feet. So securemarriage.com has all sorts of fantastic resources that you can start to find that solid footing again. So anyway, we hope you find this helpful. Thanks for watching and listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're your hosts, Paul and Shannon Elmore. And on today's episode, once a cheater, always cheater?
Always a cheater? Question mark? Say the word question mark too.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't get
I know.
the...
All right.